The American rental market is a labyrinth of temporary dwellings. Most are forgettable, merely temporary structures of wood and drywall. But sometimes these temporary homes harbor a permanence, a historical, emotional residue so toxic that it stains the present. Sarah Jenkins experienced this reality during a short-term work assignment in Coastal Maine. She was looking for affordability and utility. What she found was a corrosive, chilling presence that systematically dismantled her sense of safety.
The house itself was old, obviously cheap, but not inherently threatening from the outside. The moment I walked in, though, a dense, heavy silence hit me. It wasn't quiet, it was silent. The air felt thick, like walking through water. My first week was tolerable standard old house quirks, noises settling at night. The cold started. It wasn't the kind of cold you fix with a thermostat. It was localized, wet, and smelled faintly metallic, like old pennies left outside in the snow, combined with something deeply organic, like rotten leaves or soil. It seemed to emanate directly from the laundry room in the basement corner. I kept the door shut constantly, but the chill seeped up, wrapping around the whole first floor. It was a sensory attack, constantly reminding you that something was fundamentally wrong with the environment. I tried to ignore it, telling myself it was bad insulation or foundation issues, but the smell and the chill were uniquely oppressive.
Architectural anomalies can usually explain temperature drops, but the intensity Sarah described transcended physics. This was dread distilled into cold vapor. She meticulously documented the ambient temperature difference between the living room and the laundry room, a difference of nearly 20 degrees Fahrenheit, a gradient impossible for the house's layout to explain.
The smell escalated into something truly vile after about 10 days, a suffocating scent of stagnant water and decay. Then came the movement, which started small, insignificant, that soon became too deliberate to rationalize. I had this antique rocking chair in the spare bedroom. It was heavy, dark wood. One night, around 3 a.m., I was woken up not by a loud crash, but by a very rhythmic, slow squeak coming from that room. It was the chair rocking steadily. I froze. There was absolutely no draft in the house. The windows were sealed shut because of the cold. I lay there for 10 minutes, listening to the impossible rhythm of this empty chair moving itself. I finally shouted, "Stop it!" The squeaking didn't stop immediately. It completed 2 more slow, deliberate cycles before fading into silence. It was like whatever was doing it paused, acknowledged me, and then simply stopped when it was ready.
The rhythmic, self-propelled movement of a heavy object, defying gravity and logic in the deepest hours of the night, shifts the perception of the house from old to hostile. The interaction was not random. It was a demonstration of controlled power. The presence was confirming its existence to the occupant.
After the rocking chair, I stopped sleeping soundly. I started leaving small items, specific markers, on my bedside table or the kitchen counter, just little tests to confirm my sanity. Things that were messy, like my car keys, I'd toss them onto the counter randomly. But I noticed that when I woke up, the key ring would be perfectly centered, or the keys themselves would be stacked neatly on top of one another. The level of meticulous rearrangement was unnerving. I could handle a chaotic ghost that threw objects, but this was calculated. It was like an extremely neat, malevolent tenant was reorganizing my life while I slept, asserting control over my immediate surroundings.
The intrusive tidiness was interpreted by Sarah not as a domestic quirk, but as a deliberate violation of personal space. The escalating psychological warfare was moving toward a climax, challenging the very barrier between sleep and wakefulness.
The final night, I knew I had to leave. I had this old, beaten-up leather wallet I kept my emergency cash in, tucked into a drawer. I woke up around 4 a.m. with an overwhelming sense of cold pressing down directly on the bed, not just in the room. I felt heavy, paralyzed, and I couldn't shake the smell. It was right there, next to my head, wet soil and rust. I lay there for maybe 20 minutes until the pressure finally lifted. I got up, breathing hard, and went straight to the drawer. I found my wallet on the bedside table, which I swear I had put away. It was open, and the few $20 bills I had inside were fanned out, perfectly separated, showing the portrait side up. Nothing was taken. it just had been opened, counted, and displayed for me to find. That was the moment I realized it wasn't just interested in the house, it was interested in me. It had been near me while I slept, going through my things. I packed that morning in 45 minutes, left the key on the kitchen counter, and drove 3 hours south without looking back.
Sarah Jenkins broke her lease, forfeiting her deposit and 2 months' rent, a substantial financial loss that paled in comparison to the dread she carried. The house, she learned later, sat vacant for 3 more months before the landlord painted over the mold, ignoring the deeper rot embedded in the walls. The true terror of a rental home haunting is realizing that you are not just a tenant, you are a temporary victim, chosen for a presence that waits patiently for the next set of keys.